Okay, I'm quickly going to shoot this video just to explain the three kinds of breakdowns when things that are ready to hand become things that are present at hand, right? So readiness to hand, again, is you just using equipment. And present to hand means something has happened and you're looking now at this thing and there it is, right? And it's just present at hand, it's no longer usable as equipment. So three ways this happens. It is conspicuousness, obtrusiveness, and obstinacy. One thing I want to emphasize, make sure that I say this up front, the real point of understanding how readiness to hand becomes present at hand is that this is a great example of how to do phenomenology. What phenomenology is all about then is letting things kind of unfold as they do, and then being able to figure out what's going on as it's happening, right? Letting things unfold, letting them show themselves from themselves as they do in their own ways, right? So what happens is the world and the way that we live in the world is one in which we generally live with a lot of equipment. But that equipment then tells us something about the world that we live in, right? That it's in the background. On the background of all of this equipment, there is a world. And when equipment breaks down or falls apart, the way that we live in the world, the way that we see things in the world, the way we experience the world also alters, right? So when things are moving along smoothly, the kind of way that we live in the world, the way that we see things or experience things is called circumspection. Just using equipment, right? So Heidegger calls that circumspection. It's a world of equipment. But what's important here about phenomenology is what we're going to get when we see how equipment breaks down and the readiness to hand becomes present at hand. Beneath all of that, there is an announcing or some kind of a presence of the world itself. So what is important to pay attention to here is not just conspicuousness, obstinacy, and obtrusiveness. What's important is to see that these things are elements of or parts of the world, and when we become aware of these things, something else is going on and the world is starting to show itself for what it is, the world in which we live. And that's doing phenomenology, right? Tracing back equipment to world. And we're going to see that we're going to take a further step from that and see that the world of equipment always keeps us in a context of living with others, so that being in the world is a part of being in the world with other people like us, right? Other Dasein. And Heidegger's going to help to do phenomenological research on what it means to live with others or being with others after we sort of understand how the world starts to emerge by the breakdown of equipment. All right, so the three ways that equipment breaks down. One is conspicuousness, one is obtrusiveness, one is obstinacy. They're very simple. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Your assignment, in fact, is going to be to find examples of your own of each of these things. So I'm going to explain them very quickly. You've also got the book to look at them. And then you're going to find examples and turn those in. So conspicuousness is when equipment just pure and simple breaks. I'm hammering with a hammer and the hammer breaks. And I look at the hammer and I go, what is this thing? And I start wondering about the being of hammers, right? That's conspicuousness. Hammer becomes conspicuous, or hammering, or the context in which hammers and hammering takes place becomes conspicuous. Okay, then there's obtrusiveness. Obtrusiveness is slightly different. Obtrusiveness is, I've got the hammer, and the hammer would function just fine, but I can't find any of the freaking nails. And without the nails, this hammer just obtrudes, right? So obtrusiveness is when you have something